Hello and welcome to our Tuesday evening here on our English lesson on our YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you're new to the channel, you'll find a bunch of beginner courses for the wisdom of Kabbalah on this YouTube channel. And if you're further interested, you can always visit kabbalah.info and you can actually join the KabU Academy and carry on studying with like-minded people from all around the world. And I'm pretty sure there'll be someone in your country near you as well. In the interim, we're going to carry on with our excerpts as from last week. We're on excerpt number 17. The topic, as you know, everything is obtained by the power of prayer. Excerpt number 17. And once we finish these, we'll be looking to prepare ourselves for the September Congress. And hopefully I'll see you guys there as well. All right, so excerpt number 17. If you have any questions, as usual, shoot them through. We'll try to answer them as best we can with what we have in our hands from the sources. So this is Rabashtat number 65. Let's get smashing. A person must decide that he wants the Creator to give him a desire to completely annul before him, meaning not leave any desire under his own authority, but that all the desires in him will be only to give glory to the Creator. Once he decides on complete annulment, he asks the Creator to help him execute it. This means that although in the mind and the desire, he sees that the body disagrees with him, annulling all his desires before the Creator instead of for his own sake, he should pray to the Creator to help him want to annul before him with all the desires, leaving no desire for himself. This is called a complete prayer, meaning that he wishes that the Creator will give him a complete desire without any compromises to himself. And he asks of the Creator to help him always be with his righteousness. All right, so let's read that again. Let's go sentence by sentence. Okay, these excerpts are really important because they give us hints as to the feelings we need to come to turn to the Creator. As you know, in the wisdom of Kabbalah, we can't pray, we can't turn to the Creator with lip service. All right, we're not in the lip service business. We are in the feeling business. So if we have a lack in the heart, that's called a prayer. So the work in the group should bring us to a sensation that we lack, we need something. And need means a necessity. It means it's something I can't do without. A person must decide that he wants the Creator to give him a desire to completely annul before him. So we need to come to that decision, but that decision is not like me saying, oh, I have now decided to completely annul myself before the Creator. That's not going to happen at all. First of all, we need to understand how our nature works. So the wisdom of Kabbalah will show us the traits that we have, how our nature works, what is our inclination, okay? And once we start to define those things, then we begin to understand that our nature is causing us harm. And then I begin to see that I can't help myself. I'm causing myself harm and I can't help myself. I keep doing the same wrong things. That will build inside of us a desire to annul before the Creator. It's like we just want to stop all the desires inside of us, right? So that needs to come to a person with an understanding. It's not going to happen overnight. This is a process, just like kids grow up, we grow up too, and it's going to take a bit of time. Meaning not to leave any desire under his own authority. As we developed, we will not want to leave anything in order to receive for ourselves because, like I said, you will see that whatever you do to receive for yourself is only causing grief to yourself. But that all the desires in him will be the only, let's read that again. But all the desires in him will be only to give glory to the Creator. What does it mean to give glory to the Creator? Obviously, the Creator doesn't need us to glorify him. He's not some egoist on a pedestal. Glory to the Creator means that we raise the importance of love of others and bestowing to others because that's the nature of the Creator. This is why I want to annul ourselves. Annulling our desire to receive for ourselves allow us to elevate ourselves. If we don't do that, we're constantly living in this corporeal level, which is called the animal level. It's an animate level. This is why we're born, we live, and we end up dead. Okay? Just like an animal. So if we want to be human, we need to elevate ourselves to a higher level of consciousness. That can only happen if I annul my nature, so I can be above my nature in a new sensation, a new perception of reality. Once he decides, or she decides, okay, depending on whether you're a male or female, once he or she decides on complete annulment, he asks the creator to help him execute it. So I have to come to a decision that my ego is causing me harm, and I need to ask the creator to make sure that he gives me the strength to overcome it. This is why I said a minute ago, there's no chance of me overcoming my egoism. I can only see it's causing me evil. And if I see it's causing me bad, I can come to the conclusion that I want to get rid of it. So I now decided I don't want to use my egoism. Right. This means that although in the mind and the desire, he sees that the body disagrees with him annulling all his desires before the creator, instead of for his own sake, he should pray to the creator to help him want to annul before him with all the desires, leaving no desire for himself. So when we get to such a state, he's also saying that we're going to have a few dramas internally. Okay, and that means that our nature doesn't really want to agree with annulment. Our nature wants to have fun. All right, so we want everything for ourselves. We want the creator for ourselves as well. Nobody comes to the wisdom of Kabbalah wanting to bestow anything to anybody. Everybody's here to get something. All right, so as we study, like I said, this is a process, then we begin to understand that our egoism is the only source of evil inside of us. And that understanding and feeling, brings us to the decision that we don't want to be like this. Okay. However, because we can't change our own nature, we're going to need a bit of help from the creator himself. And this is called a complete prayer, meaning that he wishes that the creator will give him a complete desire without any compromises to himself. And he asks of the creator to help him always be with his righteousness. So we need a bit of help from the creator. And without that help, we can't change ourselves. We're not capable of changing ourselves. It's just not going to happen, right? So we need a bit of outside help. You guys let me know when there's a question. Okay, we're moving on to excerpt number 18. This is from Baal Islam Shamati, article number 5. Let's read. One must know when exerting to attain the lishma, to take upon himself to want to work entirely to bestow. Completely meaning only to bestow and not to receive anything. Only then does one begin to see that the organs do not agree to his view. From this, one can come to clear awareness that he has no other choice but to pour out his heart to the creator to help him, so the body will agree to enslave itself to the creator unconditionally, as he sees that he cannot persuade his body to annul itself completely. It turns out that precisely when one sees that there is no hope that his body will agree to work for the creator by itself, one's prayer can be from the bottom of the heart, and then his prayer is accepted. That's really nice and sharp. All right, let's go again, sentence by sentence, and extract what we can. One must know when exerting to attain lishma, which is to bestow unconditionally to the creator, everything to be done for the sake of the creator, to take upon himself to want to work entirely to bestow, completely, meaning only to bestow and not to receive anything. Only then does one begin to see that the organs do not agree to this view. Okay, so if we decide to work nicely in the group, what should I be facing? I should be facing the fact that I do not agree in my desire to bestow completely. All right, so what does that mean? It means that I have to try and connect with the friends. I've got to try and love the friends, to bestow to them. And bestowal means I don't get anything back in return. Now, in our world, when we do a favor to somebody, okay, it's like we get a kickback, right? I scratch your back, you scratch my back, business as usual. All right. But in bestowal, you can't really do that. In bestowal, you scratch everybody's back and nobody scratches yours. All right. And that's a little funny to our egoism, because then you're thinking, well, how's this going to pan out? Because I get nothing. Well, bestowal means you get nothing. You give everything. All right. So that's how bestowal works. So it is only obvious that our desire to receive is not going to agree. Okay, because this is completely against our nature. So it's not going to happen. This is why a person needs help from the Creator, because he sees that his nature is not willing to succumb and to bow down to the force of bestowal. So every desire in me should be just on strike. All right. Everybody's out, everybody's waving flags, and nobody wants to do the work. From this, one can come to clear awareness that he has no other choice but to pour out his heart to the Creator to help him, so the body will agree to enslave itself to the Creator unconditionally, as he sees that he cannot persuade his body to annul itself completely. And that's how it is. The more we try, the more we fail. The more we fail, the more heartbroken we get. The more heartbroken we get, the more crying we do. The more crying we do, the more we come to a complete prayer. And then we get an answer from the Creator. So that process needs to happen on an ongoing basis. So this is why the person should not leave the path, right? This is why a person shouldn't give up. Because what happens is we do some good work. Then what happens is our ego or desire to receive is now in conflict with the work. Okay. Then people fall weak and they fall off the bandwagon. And that's exactly the time when they should have added work so that they could overcome that heaviness, rather than just falling off because now I feel bad. If you're going to behave according to how you feel, like good and bad, that means you are in the animal degree. Okay, because human degree is acting above the feeling. Okay, that's what's called a human. So if we want to advance in spirituality, despite the fact that I feel bad because I don't want to bestow and my nature is completely incompatible to bestowing, and it's just doesn't want to go there, right? Despite all that, what I should be doing is adding to what I'm going through and understanding from the study, which is why we're studying these excerpts, right? So I come to an understanding that my nature can never want to bestow. This is why they're writing this to us, saying, listen, you try to bestow and you're gonna fail. All right. Now, we don't like to believe that kind of stuff, so we do it, right? So we try to love the friends, bestow to the friends. We think we can do this thing, okay? But the more we try, the more we understand that what the Kabbalists wrote is true. Because we can't love others without any self-interest. Therefore, you can never bestow to anyone anything if you can't love them without self-interest. Thus, henceforth, the body starts to rebel, and we can't persuade it. It turns out that precisely when one sees that there is no hope that his body will agree to work for the Creator by itself, one's prayer can be from the bottom of the heart, and then his prayer is accepted. And that's exactly how it is. A person just understands this is just not going to happen without the Creator's help. And that's the best, actually, time in the work. When a person understands that he can't do anything and he's completely dependent on the Creator, and that there is no other way he's going to change unless the Creator helps him out. Excerpt number 19. This is from Shamati article number 122, understanding what is written in Shulchan Aruch. A person wanting to work entirely in the form of bestowal, and that all of one's thoughts of his own pleasure will be revoked. Then, when he feels what he's saying, his heart can fear that his prayer might be accepted, meaning that he will have no desire whatsoever for himself. And concerning self-pleasure, there appears a state where it seems as though he leaves all the pleasures of this world, together with all the people, friends, his kin, all his possessions, and retires to the desert, where there is nothing but wild beasts, without anyone knowing of him or of his existence. It seems to him as though he loses his world at once, and feels that he is losing a world filled with the joy of life, and takes upon himself death from this world. He feels as though he is committing suicide when he experiences this image. Sometimes the evil inclination, the Sitra Achra, helps him picture his state with all the dark colors. Then the body repels this prayer, and in such a state, his prayer cannot be accepted, since he himself does not want his prayer to be accepted. For this reason, there must be preparation for the prayer, to accustom oneself to the prayer, as though his mouth and heart are the same. Rightio. Let's start from the beginning and go again, sentence by sentence. A person wanting to work entirely in the form of bestowal, and that all of one's thoughts of his own pleasure will be revoked. Then, when he feels what he's saying, his heart can fear that his prayer might be accepted, meaning that he will have no desire whatsoever for himself. Now, this is a classic situation. Once we get into the study, right, and we understand we're actually working to get rid of our desire to receive pleasure for ourselves, the person does not want his prayer to be accepted. Okay. He's afraid, actually, that the Creator might accept his prayer because he doesn't want to lose his desire to receive pleasure. Okay. And this is a classic situation. And it's nice to feel it as well. And everyone should go through that. It's like the more you want to advance in spirituality, on the other hand, you're afraid to be in spirituality. You're afraid to bestow because it means you got nothing. You got nothing, you get nothing. So a person's scared, and that's a right feeling. It's the right feeling. And concerning self-pleasure, there appears a state where it seems as though he leaves all the pleasures of this world, together with all the people, friends, his kin, all his possessions, and retires to the desert where there's nothing but wild beasts, without anyone knowing of him or of his existence. Actually, this is a nice feeling too, as we get more and more stuck in the group. Okay, so the more I stick my head into the group, I find myself more and more isolated from the world. I feel like completely disconnected. There's this whole world going around, and it's like I'm just not there. I'm not in it. I'm in this little bubble with the friends, and all this chaos is going around us. And it's true. On the one hand, it's a nice feeling, but on the other hand, it feels like you have nothing left from your life, because it's like you left everything. You don't even talk to your family often enough, you know. You used to talk to them before more. Now you're like, whatever. Okay, so it's like you don't have the old friends you used to have. Okay, because you got nothing to talk with them. You just don't have anyone from the outside world to talk with and to share what you're going through. And another thing is you come to the group and you're studying with the guys. And also in the group, you feel alone as well most of the time. It's like you've got a bunch of friends around you, but you just feel alone. And it's a weird feeling. You're like, I'm supposed to be here with the guys, we're all studying together. We're at 10, we want to be like family, but it feels like you're always alone. Okay. And that is a right feeling. It's not a wrong feeling. It is a correct feeling, because we come to an understanding, whether you're on the outside or the inside world, that your heart's loneliness can only be filled with the Creator. So it's only natural for you to feel alone in both circumstances, okay? In corporeal reality and inside the group too. Obviously, we're always endeavoring and aspiring to build good connections with the friends, because this is really necessary. Mutual support, mutual consideration, love of friends is a must in the group. Without that, you'll have no strength at all. Okay. But however, inside a part of you still, an inner part of you, deep down inside, still feels alone. All right. And that's the right feeling. And we should have that feeling, because this is how we're going to want the Creator to fill that place up. It seems to him as though he loses his world at once, and feels that he is losing a world filled with the joy of life, and takes upon himself death from this world. Well, we go through that as well, because once you start studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, not by choice, but as a result of the study, as a result of the work, as a consequence of the study, you just don't get pleasure from other things in life. You just begin to feel like, no, I don't think I want to do that. No, I don't want to do that either. The things you used to do before and you enjoyed just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't add up. And you try to go back and do those things, and it just doesn't work out. So I used to like doing that before Kabbalah, and now I don't. You won't. Why? Because you're growing up, and you can't keep playing around with the same toys every day for the rest of your life. So you got to move forward. This is why when you start studying seriously, you begin to mature up, and you begin to realize that you're kind of disconnected from all these fun things, which later, as you grow up, you begin to realize were childish things. Why? Because you've elevated yourself to a higher level of maturity. Now, that's a bit of a drama in the wisdom of Kabbalah, because although you're becoming more mature, you're still inside your desire to receive pleasure. So you still want a little bit of taste out of life. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't work out like that, unfortunately. Okay. So what do we have to do? We have to, in the study, look for where we can get taste from life between the connection within us. This is why, from the outside world, it sometimes feels like death. Because I come to the study of the wisdom of Kabbalah, and I've got nothing left from my previous life, corporate reality, because I'm not getting pleasure from anything in the past. I'm in the group and I'm not getting any pleasure from here either. Okay, so I got no pleasure from the past of how my life used to be. Okay, and I got no pleasure in the group. So I'm thinking, well, you know, what's going on? As exactly what's going on is, as we study, we need to start looking to find pleasure from bestowal, not reception. And that's the switch we need to make in the study. This is why he's saying, well, you know, I got pleasure from nothing. This is why all of our desires are complaining. They're saying, listen, you want to bestow, but you got nothing. It's true. I've got nothing in my desire to receive for myself, but the bestowal, the work on the love of others, so we can feel pleasure in loving each other, that should be the focus, right? And if I'm not focusing on that, and if I'm not trying to push myself to that, then my desire to receive won't complain, and I've got nothing to turn to the Creator with. So from corporeality, I've got no joy. In spirituality, as long as I'm in my desire to receive for myself, I've got no joy. So it feels like death. That's why he's saying it's like I've gone to the desert and I feel like I've got no life, nothing to show for. Why? Because we're not focusing on what we need to focus on, and that's the love of friends. Because that's where we need to get pleasure from. All right? This is why the body is rebelling all the time, doesn't want to do it, wants to leave the work, just can't handle it. Can't handle living without pleasure. This is the same concept of a drug addict. They can't live without the good feeling of the drugs. And we are addicted to getting pleasure all the time. So once we're trying to, make a switch inside of us, we're going through that same kind of procedure that drug addict who wants to quit the drugs is going through. Their body is burning all over. Okay, because that's the sensation they have. If they stop using hard drugs, they feel like they're burning inside. Okay, like very painful stuff. So it's the same thing for our desire to receive. All right. This is why we need to focus on turning to the Creator every time we understand that inside of us the desire to receive is rebelling. Right? That way we bring the Creator into the equation. Right? Some outside help. Okay, just like a person sometimes needs outside help, don't they? All right, like there are support groups in corporeal reality as well, right? Like people who help alcoholics, like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? So a person's an alcoholic, they go because they feel like they need help. They want to get rid of this situation. Okay, they understand they can't do it on their own. So they need some outside support. So what do they build for them? An environment of like-minded people who are going through the same problems and who want to overcome that problem. And that's the right environment. So our environment is the right environment, right? We want to overcome our egoistic nature so we can elevate ourselves to a higher state. So we've all come to the agreement that life has a meaning, and that meaning is only found above our current state. And as we're trying to raise ourselves above that current state, we're having an inner conflict. Okay, just like anybody who's trying to leave a bad habit has within them. It's the same procedure. Okay, the only difference is We're trying to go into another nature. So we're trying to leave our current nature and go into another nature. That's the only difference. But other than that, the procedure is the same. All right. Laws of nature do not change. They are the same from beginning of time and until the end of time. The laws of nature will not change. Let's take a look at some questions that might help us to dig a little deeper. Ingrid's asking, should one gather with local friends even though those friends who are near her aren't so interested in the study of Kabbalah in depth? And how to wake up those friends to be more serious? Are those friends? Should I organize a gathering? Well, for example, we always organize a gathering. Okay, so whenever there's an event, we have a gathering where we try anyway. So it's good to get together with the friends, and you should get together with friends who can come together, okay, for the same goal. So if you can get together somehow together, it'll be great. For the friends who are not so interested, the only thing we can do is to inspire them with good examples and relating good to them without any pressure. Pressure in the wisdom of Kabbalah will not work. So the only thing we can do is to be a good friend to everyone and a good example. All right, those are the only thing we can do, but definitely try to get together if you can, and you probably have somebody who's responsible in your area, in your language, that can help you out with that too. So how to wake up those friends to be more serious? Always turning to the Creator is a good idea. One should actually pray for one's friends. It's a good way to get out of your skin. All right. Dree is asking, but if you bestow and you aren't expecting anything in return, but it usually causes the other person to feel shame in return, that's all right. In order for them to overcome shame, they'll have to reciprocate. It's not a bad thing. If I'm doing good to you and you feel like you need to return the favor, it's not a bad thing. This is why the work is mutual. Love can happen only between people. It can't happen just with me doing things. It has to be mutual. This is why our strength, our power comes from the mutuality of love of friends. Okay, so if I do my best to bestow and to facilitate love and connection between the friends, that should awaken the others to reciprocate. And if that comes with shame or they feel bad, so they have to do it as well, it's okay. It's okay. Don't we often do things we don't want to do in life because we feel it's the right thing to do? Right? We feel it's the right thing to do, so we do it. And this is how we force ourselves to go against our nature. Otherwise, how am I going to go against my nature? I can't. Okay. So the Creator has given us this feeling of being embarrassed or shamed by not reciprocating the favor of others so that we can pay back. Okay. So it's not a bad thing. Melike is asking, greetings, my guide. When we pray, should we ask for the level of faith and grace that the Creator wants to give us? Or should we first pray to the Creator only to be changed? You can only ask for what's in your heart. All right, that's a prayer. Okay. And that should develop as we study more and more. Okay. But before praying, it's always a good idea to thank the Creator as well for awakening us and giving us a hand so we don't live like animals, that He wants us to be above our animal nature. It's always good to say thank you first and then ask for help on how you can raise yourself to that human level. Mahir is asking, the creator's approach is always and only good. So all events in one's life are also good, only one cannot feel it. And obviously the problem is with the person, not with the creator. How can one approach in this situation? Because the sense of perception, mind and body will object, should I do inner work or pray for it? Think of it like this. If the Kabbalists are saying the creator is good and he's always doing good, and I don't feel like he's doing good, okay? It's kind of like you raising your kids. You got kids, yeah? You got 3 of them. That's good. That's good. I'm sure they always don't think you're a good dad, right? No. Sometimes they'll say, God, dad sucks. Okay. Why? Because you're not always doing what they want you to do, right? But you're not doing it because it's why? Because but when you do that, you're a bad dad. You go, what kind of a dad have I got anyway? All right. So they start to complain. And this is also our life here as well. You know, we want to get things which we think is good for us. But do we really have the mind to know, to calculate what really is good for our advancement towards the purpose of life? We don't know. So this is why whatever happens in life, I take it as it comes. Okay? Now, this doesn't mean I don't have to do anything, right? We go to work, we take care of the family, business as usual, all right? Day to day, in and out, okay? But despite the fact that I do my best and I try to do things as best as I think they're good for all of us, okay? The outcome, the result is always from the creator. And despite the fact that I may not agree with the results, I take it as it is. Okay? And that's how I need to relate to it, because I don't know what the creator's thinking. Okay? And just like kids don't know what's good for them, and you do, so you got the power to say no to them, the creator also thinks, well, you know, Mahir, this isn't so good for you, so we're going to pass on that, and you're not getting it. Okay? It's just how it is. Okay? Like I said, though, this doesn't mean you need to give up on the things you want in life or you think are necessary in life. Okay? But as we study more and more, we should begin to make better calculations in life as to what is necessary for me and what is not necessary for me. What's necessary for the kids, the family? What are the things that I really need to provide for these people? And what are the things that I don't need to, so I don't have to waste my life chasing around silly things? Just like kids run around chasing silly things, right? From our perspective, they're chasing silly stuff. Well, from their perspective, it's serious stuff, man. Okay? So this is how people grow up, and this is how we grow up. And we just have to take it as it is. SOK is asking, will spiritual pleasure be revealed once we are empty of any pleasures that fill the desire to receive? We will be closer. A spiritual pleasure is when we bestow. But when we are above the desire to receive pleasure for ourselves, it's a step closer to the Creator than being too far out. Okay? Because remember, spirituality is equivalence of form. And that means I have to reciprocate the bestowal. I've got to pay back. So we've got to have a mutual love and bestowal with the Creator. That's where the pleasure is. But stopping the desire to receive pleasure for myself, or at least succeeding with the help of the Creator, as he says here, we've got to pray for it. So it becomes a necessity for us through the work and the prayer. Once the prayer is then answered, then I can say to myself, wow, now I'm above my desire to receive. Now, being above the desire to receive is also not a bad feeling. It's a pretty good feeling because you feel free. You see, in life, we're not free. Our desire to receive is running us around like a wild horse, trying to get everything out of life. We're not free. We are actually like working really, really hard to get pleasure. It's like being a slave. So when you go above your desire to receive, although you're not getting any pleasure in your desire to receive, you have this peaceful state when you're like above everything. Okay? But that's not enough. It's a comfort zone, but it's not enough. And the Creator will need to get you out of that comfort zone. You won't want to get out of it, but the Creator will make you get out of that comfort zone. So the next step above that is the Creator putting pressure on us even more so that we can jump to the next level, which is to receive in order to bestow. And that's where the pleasure is. That's maxed out pleasure. All right. I think we're done for tonight. How's that? There's nice little excerpts. Thank you for the questions. Helps us clarify what we need to go through and do in life together as we study the wisdom of Kabbalah. Hopefully, God willing, without any dramas, we'll get back together again on Tuesday night. Keep in mind, in September, we've got a Congress. Let's prepare ourselves for the Congress, and hopefully we'll have a good one in September. Until then, next week, all the best. Have a good night.